Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting topics for coin collectors and treasure hunters, the most valuable wheat pennies ever made so special. How much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is another classic piece of American history, struck at the Philadelphia Mint during the post-World War II era. Although it's not a rare coin, it holds great historical and sentimental value, especially for collectors who appreciate coins that have survived decades of circulation. The 1946 penny represents a time when the United States was returning to peace, rebuilding its economy, and celebrating the end of years of global conflict. Every Lincoln penny from this era tells a quiet story of the American people during those hopeful post-war years. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust," with the word liberty to his left and the date 1946 to his right. Because there is no mint mark beneath the date, this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse side, you'll find the familiar wheat ear design showing two stalks curving inward around the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. The Latin phrase a pluribus unum, meaning out of many. One appears across the top. This coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a weight of about 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. It has a plain edge and typically shows varying shades of brown or reddish-brown, depending on its exposure to air and storage conditions. Over time, copper develops a natural patina, giving each coin a unique tone. The 1946 Lincoln penny was minted in very large quantities. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 991 million of them, nearly a billion coins. Because of this high mintage, the 1946 no-mint mark penny is common, especially in circulated grades. Your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches. In coin grading terms, fine means the coin shows moderate wear from circulation, but most major design features are still visible. On the obverse, Lincoln's cheek and jawline are worn, but his facial outline remains distinct. His hair and coat details are smooth but still recognizable. On the reverse, the wheat stalks have lost much of their finer detail, though their outlines are clearly defined. The lettering and date remain readable, but light scratches or surface marks may be visible under direct light. These scratches slightly reduce the coin's eye appeal, and therefore its market value. In today's collector market, a 1946 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition is typically worth $0.10 to $0.20. If it were in very fine or extremely fine condition, its value could rise to $0.25 to $0.50. About uncirculated examples may bring $100 to $200, and fully uncirculated red coins can sell for $300 to $500 or more, depending on their luster and color. Certified mint state red examples from top grading services like PCGS or NGC can sometimes fetch $20 or higher, but those are the finest surviving specimens. For your coin, which shows circulation wear and scratches, the realistic market value today would likely fall near 10 to 15 cents. Although the 1946 penny is not rare, it carries deep historical meaning. It was among the first Lincoln pennies struck after the end of World War II. Suspectun. During the war, the U.S. Mint had experimented with steel cents in 1943 and later with shell-casing bronze in 1944 and 1945. By 1946, the Mint returned to using regular copper alloy once again. In a sense, the 1946 penny symbolizes America's return to normal life after years of wartime austerity and industrial focus. Every one of these coins circulated in a country filled with optimism and post-war growth. The Philadelphia Mint's 1946 pennies were widely distributed across the United States, and millions remain in circulation or in old coin jars today. Despite its abundance, collectors still prize the 1946 penny for its historical significance and its role in the long-running Lincoln Wheat Cent series. It's part of the story that stretches from 1909, when the design was first introduced to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, all the way to 1958, when the wheat reverse was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Even though your coin has some scratches and wear, it's still a tangible connection to that important period in history. Every nick and mark reflects years of use in daily commerce, perhaps during the booming post-war economy of the late 1940s or the early years of the baby boom era. Holding a 1946 penny today is like holding a tiny piece of America's past, a reminder of simpler times when a single cent had real buying power and copper coins were made to last generations. If you want to keep your coin in good condition, store it in a soft plastic coin holder or protective sleeve, and handle it by the edges to avoid adding fingerprints or further wear. Never clean or polish it, since that can damage the coin's surface and reduce its value even more. The natural patina that develops on old copper coins is part of their character and authenticity, and collectors value that original appearance. Next up, the 1954 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny with D mint mark is a classic mid-century coin produced at the Denver Mint, one of the 3 U.S. mint facilities striking Lincoln cents that year. While not rare, this coin holds a special place in American numismatic history as part of the long-running Wheat Penny series that began in 1909 and ended in 1958. The D mint mark, located just below the date, identifies it as being from Denver, a mint known for producing high quantities of circulating coinage during the 1950s. Even though billions were made, each surviving coin serves as a reminder of an era when pennies were a vital part of daily life and commerce. In the United States, the obverse of the 1954 D Lincoln Wheat Penny features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. His design was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and quickly became one of the most recognized images in U.S. coinage. Above Lincoln's head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," with liberty to his left, and the date, 1954, with the small D mint mark beneath it on the right. On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks curve along the sides of the coin, framing the words "1 cent" and "United States of America." The Latin phrase "e pluribus unum," meaning "out of many," one, appears at the top. The coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs approximately 3.11 grams, and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. It has a plain edge, and over time, its color often shifts from bright reddish copper to darker brown or reddish-brown, depending on storage conditions and circulation. Since your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches, it shows significant wear from years of use. In this grade, most fine details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat are smooth or worn flat, though the date, mint mark, and lettering remain readable. The reverse design also shows heavy wear. The wheat stalks are visible but lack detail, and the surfaces may be dull or uneven due to scratches and aging. The 1954 D Lincoln penny had a massive mintage of over 251 million coins, making it very common in all circulated grades. Because of this high production, most examples in average condition do not carry much premium value beyond face value. However, collectors still enjoy them as part of the complete Lincoln Wheat Penny set, especially those struck in attractive colors or preserved in higher grades. In today's collector market, a 1954 D Lincoln Wheat Penny in good condition with some scratches generally has a value of $0.05 to $0.10. In better grades, such as fine or very fine condition, it might bring 0.8, 15 to 0.25s. Coins in extremely fine or about uncirculated condition can sell for $0.50 to $1, while bright red uncirculated examples, which have never been used, often fetch $2 to $5 depending on their color and luster. Certified mint state red coins graded by PCGS or NGC can be valued anywhere from $10 to $25 or more, depending on quality. Since your coin has scratches and circulation wear, its realistic value is closer to the lower end, around 5 to 10 cents in today's market. Even though it's not a rare coin, the 1954 D wheat penny is an interesting piece of post-war American history. During the 1950s, the United States was experiencing rapid economic growth, technological advancement, and cultural change. Coins like this penny circulated widely, used by millions of Americans in everyday transactions, from buying candy and newspapers to saving in piggy banks. The Denver Mint, which struck your coin, played a crucial role in producing the coins that fueled this booming economy. From a historical standpoint, the 1954 D penny also reflects the tail end of the wheatback design, which was later replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. Collectors often treasure these coins not just for their monetary worth, but because they represent a bridge between eras, connecting the early 20th century design style with the modern age of U.S. coinage. If you own a 1954 D Lincoln wheat penny, even in circulated and scratched condition, it's worth keeping as a tangible piece of history. Handle it carefully by the edges to avoid further damage, and store it in a small protective holder or 2Q2 coin flip to prevent additional scratches or oxidation. Avoid cleaning it, as cleaning can destroy the coin's natural patina and reduce its collectible appeal. The brown or red-brown tone it carries today is part of its authentic character and charm. Next up, the 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark is a fascinating and historically rich coin, struck at the San Francisco Mint during the final years of World War II. This coin holds a special place in U.S. history, not only because of its age, but also because of the period in which it was minted, a time when America was just emerging from one of the most challenging chapters in modern history. The 1944 S wheat penny is also notable because it marked the return to copper-based coinage after the one-year experiment with steel cents in 1943. During World War II, copper was considered a critical metal for military equipment such as shell casings, electrical wiring, and other wartime necessities. To conserve copper, the U.S. Mint produced steel pennies in 1943, coated with zinc to prevent rust. However, the public disliked them because they rusted easily and were often mistaken for dimes. In 1944, the Mint returned to using a copper-based alloy made from recycled wartime shell casings, resulting in the familiar reddish-brown wheat pennies once again. The 1944 S penny, therefore, carries the legacy of wartime recovery and renewal, a symbol of peace returning to American life. The obverse of the coin features the timeless portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust." To his left is "Liberty," and to his right is the date, 1944, followed by the small S mint mark below it, indicating it was struck in San Francisco. The reverse design is equally iconic, showing two wheat stalks on the sides framing the denomination 1 cent and United States of America. At the top, the phrase "E pluribus unum" reminds us of the nation's unity out of many. This coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs about 3.11 grams, and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. It has a plain edge and a strong reddish or brown tone when preserved, although your coin is described as having a black color shade and being in dirty condition with some scratches. This darkened appearance is typically caused by oxidation or environmental exposure over many decades. Dirt, moisture, and air can react with the copper surface, creating a darker patina that ranges from chocolate brown to almost black. While this does not necessarily damage the metal itself, it does affect the coin's visual appeal and overall collector value. In terms of condition, your coin is said to be in dirty condition with scratches, which suggests it has been well circulated. The design details are likely worn, with Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat showing smoothing, while the wheat stalks on the reverse are faint or partially worn down. The scratches you mentioned indicate contact marks from years of handling or being stored improperly. In this condition, collectors would grade the coin somewhere between good and fine, depending on how much detail remains visible. In today's collector market, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny in worn and scratched condition generally has a value between 0.05 and 0.15s. In slightly better grades, such as very fine or extremely fine, the value can rise to around 0.8 $25 to $50. Higher grade examples with minimal wear and full details might sell for $1 to $2, and bright red uncirculated coins with full original color can be valued anywhere from $5 to $15 or more, especially if professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Rare mint state coins with exceptional luster can even reach $40 to $50 at auction, though those are premium examples. Given your coin's blackened surface and scratches, its likely retail value in today's market is closer to 5 to 10 cents. It's also worth noting that 1944 pennies have a few rare error varieties that are highly valuable. For instance, the 1944 steel cent, mistakenly struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, is one of the most valuable Lincoln cent errors ever made, worth tens of thousands of dollars. There are also 1944 D over S and 1944 S over D mint mark varieties, where one mint mark was accidentally struck over another. These are scarce and can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars in higher grades. If your coin shows any unusual mint mark shape or metallic color, such as silver gray instead of copper, it might be worth having it checked by a professional coin grader. Beyond monetary value, your 1944 wheat penny carries a deeper historical and emotional worth. It was struck at a time when American soldiers were returning home, families were rebuilding, and the nation was transitioning from war to peace. The San Francisco Mint's role was vital, producing coins that fueled the post-war economy on the West Coast and across the Pacific. Each 1944 penny represents a small piece of that moment, a token of American resilience and optimism. Although your coin's black color and scratches reduce its collectible appeal, they also tell its own story. The dirt and dark patina might have built up through decades of circulation, passing from hand to hand through markets, shops, and households. Cleaning it might seem tempting, but it's best not to. Cleaning a coin often removes its natural patina, which collectors actually value as part of its authenticity. Instead, store it safely in a soft coin holder or flip to prevent further oxidation and scratching. Next up, the 1951 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark is a classic and historically meaningful coin that continues to be a favorite among collectors of U.S. coinage. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, this coin reflects the final decade of the beloved wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. Although the 1951 S penny is not considered rare, it remains a beautiful and symbolic piece of mid-20th century America, a time of post-war growth, prosperity, and renewal. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, who first created the design in 1909 for the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The obverse includes the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," at the top, Liberty on the left, and the date 1951, followed by the small S mint mark below the year, indicating that the coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint. Lincoln's portrait remains a lasting tribute to his legacy of unity and equality, and it is one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. On the reverse, the coin displays the famous wheat ears design, also by Brenner, showing two stylized wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. The Latin motto, E pluribus unum, arches across the top, meaning out of many, one. This simple yet powerful design represented the nation's agricultural roots and strength, making it one of the most beloved reverse designs in American coinage. The 1951 S wheat penny was minted from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a weight of approximately 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. The coin has a plain edge and originally showed a brilliant reddish-orange tone when freshly struck. Over time, due to oxidation and circulation, most examples have toned to shades of reddish-brown or dark brown. Your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches, meaning it has seen significant use over the decades. In this state, Lincoln's portrait and the lettering remain visible, but many finer details are worn smooth. The wheat stalks on the reverse are likely flat and faint, while the coin's surfaces show dullness and marks from circulation. The San Francisco Mint produced about 136 million of these 1951 S pennies, making them relatively common in circulated condition, but still collectible as part of the full wheat cent series. Despite being common, these coins are sought after by collectors completing year and mint sets because they represent the closing years of the classic design before the Lincoln Memorial. Reverse was introduced in 1959. In 1967, today's collector market. A 1951 Lincoln wheat penny in good circulated condition with some scratches typically has a value of about $0.05 to $0, $10. Coins in fine to very fine condition might sell for $0.15 to $0.25, while examples in extremely fine condition can reach $0.50 to $1. Uncirculated red specimens, which have full original color and no wear, can be worth $2 to $5, and those certified as high-grade mint state by PCGS or NGC, MS65 and above, can range between $10 and $25 or more, depending on eye appeal and color. Since your coin is described as circulated, scratched, and only in good condition, its market value realistically falls around 5 to 10 cents today. While its monetary worth is modest, its historical value is significant. The year 1951 was a period of post-war confidence in the United States. The economy was strong, industries were booming, and families were beginning to enjoy the prosperity of the 1950s. Coins like the 1951 S penny were used daily in shops, movie theaters, and diners, symbols of a growing and optimistic nation. The San Francisco Mint, which struck your coin, was known for producing smaller mintages compared to Philadelphia, giving S mint coins a certain appeal among collectors. The scratches and wear on your coin tell their own story. Each mark represents years of circulation and use, perhaps passing through countless hands over more than 70 years. Although these marks reduce its collector grade, they also add a touch of authenticity, a reminder that this coin lived through an important era in American history. It's best to avoid cleaning or polishing your coin, even if it appears dirty or darkened. Cleaning removes the natural patina and surface detail, which actually decreases the coin's value. Instead, store it in a protective holder or 2x2 coin flip, away from moisture and direct sunlight, to preserve its current state. Over time, even a well-worn penny can hold sentimental and educational value, especially for new collectors or history enthusiasts. Next up, The 1942 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, is a classic U.S. coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint during one of the most significant periods in American history, the midst of World War II. While it may not be a rare coin in terms of mintage, it holds immense historical value, representing a time when every American was contributing to the war effort in some way. This penny, made of solid copper, serves as a small but powerful reminder of the country's strength, resilience, and unity during challenging times. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the familiar and iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Above his head reads the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word "Liberty," and on the right side appears the date 1942. Because your coin was minted in Philadelphia, it does not have a mint mark beneath the date. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally omitted mint marks on coins during this period. Lincoln's image is bold and noble, symbolizing honesty, leadership, and perseverance, traits that resonated deeply with the American spirit during the war years. On the reverse of the coin, you'll find the famous wheat ears design, also created by Brenner. Two stylized wheat stalks curve along the sides, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. At the top of the design appears the Latin phrase "e pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one. This design was used from 1909 to 1958 and remains one of the most beloved and nostalgic in U.S. coinage history. The key, 1942, Lincoln wheat penny was struck from the standard bronze, alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and features a plain edge. Because copper was a vital wartime material, the U.S. Mint would later change the penny's composition in 1943 to a zinc-coated steel planchet to save copper for ammunition and military supplies. That makes 1942 one of the last years before the famous steel penny experiment, which adds to its historical importance. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches, meaning it shows moderate wear from circulation, but retains strong detail on most design elements. In this grade, Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline are still visible, with some light flattening on the high points. The lettering and date remain sharp and fully legible. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are clearly defined, with most inner lines still visible, though slightly worn. The surface scratches you mention are signs of handling over many decades, common for coins that have circulated for years. In today's collector market, a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark in very fine condition, typically sells for around 0.15 to 0.25 coins. In extremely fine condition can bring 0.20 to 0.50, while those in about uncirculated or uncirculated condition may range from $1 to $3, depending on the color: red, red-brown, or brown. Bright red uncirculated examples certified by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can command values of $5 to $15 or more, depending on the quality and luster. Given your coin's scratches and circulated state, its realistic market value would be around 15 to 20 cents today. Although this coin's monetary value is modest, its historical value is far greater. In 1942, the United States was fully engaged in World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941. The economy had shifted to wartime production, and everyday citizens were saving metal, rubber, and paper for the war effort. Even small coins like the penny played a part. They were made from precious copper that was soon to be conserved for military needs. When you hold a 1942 Lincoln penny, you're literally holding a piece of that era. Copper that may have come from mines used to supply both coins and wartime materials. Your coin's scratches and aged appearance give it personality. They tell a silent story of circulation, of pockets, registers, and hands that passed it along during a time when a penny still had real buying power. Perhaps it helped buy a stamp, a piece of candy, or a newspaper announcing a major wartime event. Every mark on the surface reflects its journey through history. While it's natural to want to clean older coins, it's best not to clean or polish your penny, even if it appears dark or dirty. Cleaning removes the original surface and patina, which collectors value highly. Instead, it's best to handle your coin carefully by its edges and store it in a soft coin holder or 2A2 protective flip to prevent further wear. Over time, its natural tone and character will remain preserved, maintaining both its integrity and charm. The 1942 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark may not make you rich, but it carries something far more meaningful: history. It's a genuine artifact of America's wartime resilience, struck during a time when the nation was united under the very principles that Abraham Lincoln himself stood for. Its copper surface, aged and marked by time, serves as a reminder of the strength, sacrifice, and hope that defined an entire generation. So even though your coin's value in today's market is small, its story is priceless. A humble piece of history still shining quietly more than 80 years later.